I remember thinking when all this went down, everybody thinking it was a grand conspiracy, like maybe or it was, the Ukrainian government did this or the Russian government did that or whatever. I remember just thinking like, it's not that unlikely that someone just a random person stabbed him. I basically saved CRP's life. Without my viral tweet and streams, the SBU probably would have killed him. You're welcome, Gonzalo. Jesus Christ. To be clear, Ethan Ralph was literally like, happy you're dead on Twitter. like just 3 days before. Do you guys not know the news? The news? Chat, you gotta know. Chat, you must be bluffing me. You gotta know the news. He returned like Jesus Christ himself from the ashes. From the ashes. Where did he come? Where did he go? Where did he come from? Cotton-eyed Joe. We all thought he was gone. We all thought he'd never be back. But man, were we wrong. Were us lib cucks everywhere wrong about the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only. Christ came back, and so did this man, the one, the only Coach Redpill. I'm sorry, but how is he back? I'm just a what? He's still alive. I gotta say, everybody thought he was dead. Like everyone. Ethan Ralph was celebrating his death on Twitter. There were other people saying that he is dead and he was killed. A lot of people basically treated it like a done deal. The dude was killed in Ukraine. He was either killed by the Ukrainians, the Ukrainian state, or was killed by some random person, or everybody just kind of saw it as a done deal. That's a deepfake, maybe. But I remember saying when the reports first came out, I said that most likely it was one of two things. Well, actually, there was like a third thing that I didn't really mention more, but we might get into a little bit more. It was either he's dead, which obviously that is not the case, and or he was arrested and put in some black site or in some building or put wherever, right? And the third option, which we might talk about a little bit more, was the idea that maybe it's all spectacle. He goes away for 4 or 5 days, disappears, comes back, makes some claims, can be the star of the show. You never know, right? But I gotta be honest, how many of you actually thought he would still be alive? Because personally, I gave it like 50-50 odds, like a coin flip. To be completely honest, that was 50-50. Look, that's about where I was. 50-50 odds on whether he was dead or alive. 20-80, 50-50. It seems that a decent amount of you were thinking 50-50, and a lot of you were lying and saying, "Oh, I always knew he was alive." Come on. The last time I talked about this, basically all of you thought he was dead. And every time I tried to say, well, he could just be arrested or put something, you were like, oh, no, we would have known by now. Apparently not. Apparently people are pretty tight-lipped. So I am, of course, curious, just like the rest of you, exactly where Coach Redpill has been for the last 5 and 6 days when he disappeared off the face of the earth. So I want to listen to him. Let's hear what he has to say.
April 22nd, 2022. I'm in Kharkov. I'm okay. I just want to say that I'm back online. And I'm here with Alex Christoforou, and I just want to say that I'm fine physically. I'm a little rattled. I was picked up by the SBU on Friday, April 15th at a little after 1 p.m. local time. I'm okay physically. I'm a little rattled. There seems to have been a lot of interest in my case, which is wonderful. Thank you. But there are a lot of other people who are frankly more deserving of the attention. I've highlighted them in my Twitter feed, the real Gonzalo Lira. Those people matter more because we don't know where some of them are. Some of them have passed away, but some of them were killed. But the other ones, we don't know where they are. And so they matter more. I'm okay. I don't have my computer and I don't have my phone, and so anything that was published or posted on the Gonzalo Lira YouTube channel, the Coach Redpill YouTube channel, the real Gonzalo Lira Twitter feed, and the the real CRP Telegram feed after April 15th, just discount it because it was not me. I did not have access to those accounts, and I still don't, for that matter.
Wait, April 15th? Did he post anything post April 15th? Is he alleging that the Ukrainian state made fake social media and or posts in his name? Did he say anything after April 15th? Like if I go to his Twitter, right? He made a stupid post on April 15th, then he posted nothing else. Okay, got you. Okay. Well, that's just Twitter. I'd have to check everything else.
And I don't have my cell phone or access to my email accounts. I created a new one, and that's how I got in touch with Alex. And I've been in touch with, of course, I reached out to my family members, the people close to me, and you know, I'm telling them that I'm okay. In some cases, I'm waiting for their reply because it's 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning over there. I'm okay. Physically, I'm okay. I don't have anything that I can say publicly other than I'm okay. And thank you for the concern, because I've been like checking out on internet some of the stuff that is being said about me, and I appreciate so much the kind wishes and all the thoughtfulness of so many people. And
like Ethan Ralph. Okay, we'll let him finish quickly, and then we'll talk about it.
I very much appreciate it. But I'm still in Kharkov, and for the time being, I cannot leave. The authority here has told me that I cannot leave the city, and yeah, and but I'm okay, and none the worse for wear. And I'm rambling, and I'm sorry about that. You know, I'm a little bit discombobulated, as you can imagine, but I will come up with something clever to say. So I'm going to end here. Alex, thank you so much, and just cut it out now, because I'm just. Thank you.
And that's that. That's all of it. That is the only public statement we've received from Gonzalo, aka Coach Redpill. So okay, what can we take from this? Well, the first thing obviously is the man is not dead. That is something that a lot of us thought might be the case, that he could have been killed by, say, artillery, missiles. I mean, a lot of people said it could have been the Ukrainian government. But it seemed that like it was majority consensus online really that it was just dead. And this was something I was talking about in the other stream I did on this, was that do not jump to conclusions. Everything when it comes to the Twitter posts being made about him being dead is nothing more than rumor. There are no photographs, there are no videos, there are no official government statements. There was nothing official. And so this is just one more example that you need to wait until you have more evidence, more proof, until you know you can really jump to any conclusions or say anything decisively. And no matter what your opinion on a man is, or what your opinion about a situation is, you should always wait until you have more information or enough information to verify something, and don't just believe, you know, internet rumor. Jumping away from that, he is basically alleging that the Ukrainian authorities, the SBU, based like the Ukrainian FBI, picked him up while he was in Kharkiv. He calls it Kharkov. It's like the Russian way of saying it, right? I have, again, no idea why they would have picked him up. There have been some, again, it's all just rumors, and this is all we can play off of because, like he said in this video, he can't tell us anything, right? But there's rumors that there's allegations that he spied for the Russian state. We all know, obviously, he takes a pro-Russia position, so it probably is in some way associated with that. He said publicly that there was some Chechen warlords or Chechens that he was in communication with. Could it possibly be in relation to that, since he was the one who was making these claims publicly? Who knows which specific Chechens he was talking about? Anyway, we really still don't know anything outside of the fact that he is alive. To be completely honest, we don't even have official confirmation that what he's saying about the Ukrainian government picking him up in Kharkiv is even true. We're just taking his word for it, right? And if there were so many rumors and stuff on the internet about him being dead in the first place, I do want to throw out there that maybe we shouldn't take him at his word, right? That this happened. What would be the motivation of lying for something? Lying about this? I mean, obviously, like attention. I find the man to be personally dishonest. I think that is shown before in his career. But again, we can't come to any of those conclusions. Basically, what I'm trying to get at here is we know literally nothing. All we know is the man is not dead, and he claims that the Ukrainian government picked him up, and now he cannot leave Kharkiv. And we also know that there's a bunch of rumors about where exactly he was. That's basically it. He's probably in New Jersey. You know what? I would say I don't think that's the case. I will make that jump. I will make that logical jump. Is there anything like an embassy left he could just go to? I don't think in Kharkiv. No. If there's an embassy, it was either in Lviv or now, in Kiev. And if he's stuck in Kharkiv, then no, I don't think he can go to an embassy. And if I'm going to be completely honest, I don't know how much an American embassy would really be bothered with trying to help him. How do I put this? There's one thing, like, obviously, I've talked pretty openly that I want to travel to Ukraine. Something that I'm very aware of in my planning of traveling to Ukraine is I don't want to put any burden on the United States government on having to rescue me from some situation, right? This is why I don't want to go to, say, like, Kharkiv. This is why I don't want to go to, say, I don't know, near Mariupol, or anywhere where I could be picked up, or I could be put in a situation where the United States government would have to go out of their way to rescue me. And with the large amount of journalists that have died in this conflict, I would rather not have to take American government resources and put them towards saving me when they should be concentrated somewhere else. And so this is just another reason on, like, hey, if you don't have experience, if you can do your reporting from somewhere else, maybe choose the safer path. If you're going to be going to somewhere like Ukraine, maybe choose Lviv and Kiev and not Kharkiv, which is on the front lines of the war. Go to Mariupol, force Biden's hand. I will consider it. I appreciate the suggestion. Taken, released, and allowed to leave, and not allowed to leave, and going online and pronouncing it Kharkov, pretty sus. That the thing is, we have no reason to just believe him at face value. And again, we have no confirmation outside of his word that all of this is true. I'm not saying that it's not. What I'm saying is maybe we should wait, just like we should have waited, when it comes to the fact that he's dead or alive, and we saw Ethan Ralph and a bunch of other people jump to conclusions about him being dead. Does anybody have the Ethan Ralph tweet? Has Ethan Ralph reacted to this? Again, for those who don't know, Ethan Ralph is a very far-right online content creator, host of the Kill stream, and he was celebrating Gonzalo's, what they thought was Gonzalo's apparent death on Twitter. I'm very interested to see how he's reacted to the news that Gonzalo is not dead, and this is a Uno reverse card Rip Bozo moment. Dylan joins Azov coming soon. Dazov Battalion? My goodness. Can I also say, once again, how unbelievably stupid what Coach Redpill is doing. It's not stupid him going to Ukraine, just period. Well, actually, no. I would go as far as that. So I wouldn't go to the Russian Federation, right? Understanding what the Russian Federation is. Let's say I wasn't going to do anything against the government when it comes to like spying or anything. I understand the state of press freedoms in the Russian Federation. I understand that if I am honest about the war and I call it a war, then I can get prison time, right? That is happening right now to Russians. If you go on the street and hold up a blank sign, you can get prison time, right? If I went to the Russian Federation and started doing my coverage as I normally do my coverage, if I have done my proper research and I'm not going in unprepared, I should know what could happen to me, right? And so Gonzalo, understanding that he's going into Ukraine, the country that's being invaded, the country that's having its civilian population bombed, raped, killed, and having over 500,000 people forcefully deported, and territory being threatening to be annexed, and just terrible destruction wrought upon it. And he goes into the Ukrainian government's controlled territory in a city that is under bombardment, by the way, before giving coverage that is favorable to the country that is murdering the civilian population he has to sit next to. I remember thinking when all this went down, everybody thinking it was a grand conspiracy, like maybe or it was, the Ukrainian government did this, or the Russian government did that, or whatever. I remember just thinking, like, it's not that unlikely that someone just a random person stabbed him. And I'm not saying that like in some like joyful way. I'm not. I'm saying that as in, if you go into a city that is under bombardment, where its civilian population is being killed by the Russian government, that having its hospitals bombed, its schools bombed, all these situations, and could you close the window, geek, so I can have decent audio? Because the more bad audio, the more we're gonna have to edit out and work on this segment. Wonderful. So, where was I? If you are in Kharkiv and you have seen your hospitals bombed, your schools bombed, you have seen possibly your children die in airstrikes, your family members die, your administrative buildings attacked, your civilian infrastructure attacked, and this is a constant issue. You're woken up daily by sirens trying to keep people safe, but it's becoming a familiar tune to you. I've interviewed 2 people from Kharkiv, one still in Kharkiv, and they told me like things like, and we're talking about school teachers like 2 or 3 years older than me, telling me that they've accepted death at the age of 25 because they've had so many close calls and they just hope all their students are safe. And you're one of those civilians who've had to live under those conditions for the last 2 months. And you have Coach Redpill walk up into your city and start complimenting the force invading, saying they're justified in the territory that allows you to have the press freedoms to say, my God. Knowing that if you were to ever give that perspective of the Ukrainian government in Russian territory, you could get 10, 15 years in prison. If you even call it a war. You don't even need to necessarily say the Russian state is wrong. You just call it a war. You're just honest about what it is, and you can get that prison time. Gotta be honest. Wouldn't be that surprised if somebody took that into their own hands. Again, terrible. Just saying. I think a lot of people don't realize how much, the civilian population might not take kindly to him using their city to then justify the attack on their city. I mean, it would be like you're in Warsaw during 1939, surrounded by German troops, and you're just like, yeah, man, Team Germany. I mean, come on, guys, let's go, let's get it. Let's get this bread, Team Germany. Absolutely bizarre. I'm happy he's alive, preservation of human life. We have no real information about it outside of his own word. And so once again, don't jump to any conclusions. Don't take his word for it. We're just going to have to wait and see. Not saying he's lying, just saying we should not use Coach Redpill as the only source on Coach Redpill news, okay? Because I feel like he might have an inherent bias there. Ethan Ralph has claimed he saved Coach Redpill. Of course, I hadn't considered that scenario. It all makes so much sense now. Is Ethan Ralph banned on Twitch? Is he? Is Ethan Ralph banned on Twitch, or does he just not stream on Twitch? Yes, he is banned on Twitch. Okay, 1 second. Here's the tweet. He banned? Okay, so Man, it's crazy. This random person that could really be anyone tweeted this out. Does anybody have the original Ethan Ralph tweet, which was just absolutely brutal? I basically saved CRP's life. Without my viral tweet and streams, the SBU probably would have killed him. You're welcome, Gonzalo. Jesus Christ. To be clear, Ethan Ralph was literally like, happy you're dead on Twitter. like just 3 days before. My goodness. Jesus Christ. He was saved by Captain Russia. He has a far left-handed shield. Isn't Ralph's whole thing being a shock jockey? Yeah, I think that's a large part of it. I mean, that is what the kill stream is in large part. Ethan Ralph, Putin, it's time to end it, equals war over? Of course. I think Ethan Ralph is the real deciding factor in the conflict. Where he goes, the nation goes with him. Okay, I'm going to listen to this guy tell me how important Coach Redpill is, actually. We're going to stop for a second. I just want to hear it.
It's time to get uncomfortable. The Redacted show starts right now. Yes, welcome into Redacted, the show that gets you a little uncomfortable because we're not going to whitewash the news. We're going to cover stories you're not going to see in the mainstream media. We're going to...
We're not like the other guys. We're special. We're not like the mainstream media. Oh, my God. Thank you, my hero.
Pull the rug back. Pull the rug out from underneath these.
We're gonna pull
I have complaints about mainstream media too, but I don't know. Every time I hear that, I cringe. I cringe. My skin crawls. You know, I don't know why. I just think that I feel like it's so overdone now. I feel like so many people constantly are like fuck MSM. Then I'm just like, okay, whatever. It's like you hear it all the time now. It's like I don't know. It'd be like if somebody said, hey, you know what makes me different? I fight back against the elites. It's like, okay. Wow. Thank you. Revolutionary commentary.
The wool up.
Pull the wool
out from over your eyes.
Raise the blinds.
Yes, I'm Natalie Morris. This is Clayton Morris. We are married. We were journalists for the mainstream media. Now we are no longer. We have with us Philip and David in the control booth. Hello, boys.
Hello
guys.
from me. David is not here, I don't think. He might be joining.
Here's a question. What percentage of the alt commentators, like alt media types, including me, by the way, do you think immediately would drop everything if given an offer by a mainstream outlet like Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, those types? Hell, you could even, if you wanted to go farther, you could make a argument for like people who would control their content to some degree. Let me tell you, unironically, if CNN offered me like a fucking primetime slot or something, you think I'm not gonna take that? Are you kidding me? Oh my God. I mean, I'd hate if they told me I couldn't stream anymore independently. I'd feel weird about it, but I don't think any of you would blame me if I did end up taking it, right? But if Fox offered it, I wouldn't take it if Fox offered it. I guess that is my moral line in the sand. I would. You'd blame me? You'd blame me if I wanted to get myself in front of millions of viewers? Hey, if I was on the primetime slot of CNN, I would go from a 500 viewer Andy to a 600 viewer Andy on the primetime slot because that's how many people are watching fucking CNN.
He is actually showing improvement, though. He said he's starting to feel better.
Good.
So he
David
had a
has
pinched
played,
nerve. He had a pinched nerve where he literally couldn't move at all. Like that's what this crazy news cycle will do to you.
He's been playing YouTube peekaboo because the way
True, I'm going to be the one person left on CNN Plus. I'm going to be the entire subscription package.
have it set up is that he can see us. It's like Foucault's.
Dude, I didn't even know what that was. The only reason I heard about CNN Plus was because it failed. That's it. I didn't see any advertisement for it. And they spent like $300 million on that stuff. What a failure.
Panopticon. He can see us, but we can't see them.
Yeah.
He's playing peekaboo. But yes, our intention is to question the main narrative of what the news has us otherwise believe.
Okay, whatever. Fucking get on with it.
I had a conversation with our accountant today, and he said, I read your newsletter and I can't tell what side you're on. And I was like, good. I was so thrilled.
That's fucking terrible. Okay, can I just be for real? I don't like that. Now, if you're going to be hello everybody, I am a unbiased news source and you're C-SPAN or NPR and you're just like, here is the information, very just cold analytic. And I'm like, okay, I understand. I get you. But I want people who are honest with me about bias. I hate the You don't know what side I'm on? Wonderful, because I'm a straight shooter. Like, no, just be honest. Like, I'm honest about my biases, right? Like, I remember I did a thread yesterday on like, oh, you don't like that I'm pro Ukraine in my coverage? I don't care. I'm pro-Ukraine, baby. Slava Ukraini. Fuck you. They're the country that was invaded. They're the country largely having their civilian population killed by the invasion. They're the country that's having its women and children raped by Russian soldiers. They're the country that is under threat by Russian chauvinism and imperialism. Yeah, I'm pro-Ukraine. I hope they take out as many Russian tanks as they can, okay? And then the Russians leave. That's my position. I'm uncompromising. That is my position, and I'm going to be honest about it. I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, you know, I'm good. You know, there's a lot of arguments to be had on both sides, and you know, I'm gonna be a straight shooter and just give you the fact. Like, no, I'm honest with you about what my biases are, because my biases affect my coverage. Of course they do. My biases affect whether or not I cover this story or that story. Right? My biases affect whether I think Gonzo, Gonzo Lira, Redpill, disappearing for 5 days is more important than covering the 1,000 bodies uncovered in the Kiev Oblast, which Redacted hasn't covered, and I want to cover before this, before Hippy Dippy starts. Right? I mean, I don't know. I don't want to be fake about what biases I have.
By that, because this is an educated guy, right, who he has a side. Absolutely he does, and I know what it is. And he was like, what side are you on? I'm like, neither. I'm the side of humans, no government, no like man-made structure.
Oh my god. Dude, oh my god, these dude, okay, guys, I'm against humans. If she's pro-humans, I'm against humans, okay? I'm against them. I'm pro-machine. I am pro-machine, okay? I'm pro-toaster.
Structure that hurts people.
Yeah, when you
That's
realize,
the side that
I'm for good things. I'm against bad things.
you realize that both political parties in the United States are corrupt and they're
Wow.
run by they're run by the machine.
Revolutionary commentary.
How can you be for either of those? So we try to call BS and bullshit on all of that.
Okay, so you do have a bias, and your bias is I am anti-Democrats. I am anti-establishment. I am anti-Republicans. I am anti the elite. Like so you do have biases. You're admitting it now.
Here on this show and call hold these guys to account.
So if you're here to pigeonhole us and say, oh, you're the Fox guy or you are the MSNBC guy, you'll be sorely disappointed because
No, you're the alt media anti-establishment guy. That's what you are.
we hate everybody, but we love you.
That's right.
Does that make sense?
Oh my god.
Yeah, so please subscribe. I know we had about 5,000 new subscribers yesterday to the channel. So welcome.
God.
We're glad that you're all here and a part of this great community, trying to bring enlightenment and uncovering these stories.
This is a 10-minute long segment. It's been going on for 2 minutes and 20 seconds nearly. An entire Twitter clip worth of like in 4 seconds, the Twitter time length cuts off for how long a video can be on Twitter, and they've said absolutely nothing besides jerking themselves off. Can we get to the point?
Stories and giving these stories a voice that you're not going to see in other places.
More than 20% of the video.
We begin tonight with an update on Gonzalo Lira, who, as you may know, is the Chilean journalist. He's an American citizen as well, by the way. That's maybe gotten lost in this whole story. Who lived in Ukraine for a number of years, and yes, he had a background. He had a story to his life, and he's lived in Ukraine, but he has been reporting on the ground as to what has actually been unfolding in eastern Ukraine, calling attention to Zelensky's corrupt regime, calling attention to Zelensky arming criminals, letting them out of prison, and giving them heavy weapons. He's been calling attention to this. He has gone missing. There were reports last night from Scott Ritter and others that he may have been kidnapped by the Azov Battalion.
By the way, if the issue is, Zelensky giving weapons to criminals, I would say rape is probably a bad crime. So if Vladimir Putin is not only giving weapons to people who are raping children and women in Ukraine, he's giving awards, and I was going to cover this. We're not going to have enough time today. He's giving awards to those who carried out the Bucha massacre. He's literally awarding them in response to how much bad press they have gotten. See, I hate it when people just admit your bias towards a side. Like, this is so fucking obvious and whatever.
Brigade within the Azov battalion that actually nabbed him and then subsequently killed him. But no one has been able to independently confirm this yet. And it's been remarkable to see absolute silence on the part of the media.
Because who gives a fuck?
The Chilean and U.S. authorities are also silent on this.
And this seems like something that the media would really like.
No,
right? Anytime there's
who
a
cares?
way to personify a conflict, the media picks right up on it. It's like J School 101. And this is a person, because maybe they didn't like his brand pre-war, although I would posit that most media remaining silent on this doesn't even know what his brand was. And what I'm speaking about when I talk about his brand, because the Daily Beast took the piss out of him a couple weeks ago, saying he's gaining a lot of followers on Twitch and on Twitter and other social media because he's actually boots on the ground. And he's
Okay, for those of you who don't know, Coach Redpill is a red pill type, extremely unbelievably sexist, right? Like, if you want to just look into like his history of sexism and like bigotry, you can do it on your own time, right? If whatever, it doesn't really matter. But the reason why the mainstream media isn't covering it is because this is one person. You know how many journalists have died in this war? Over 18, it's like over 20 now have died. It's like around 20 journalists have died in this conflict. We don't even have confirmation that he has died, and you want them to cover him, even though he's not really even necessarily a journalist, but you know, he's a person with like I don't even call myself a journalist, even though I'm doing like what I'm doing over here. I mean, I guess I have to, because like if people ask like what I'm doing, I don't know what else to say, call it, but I don't like to call myself that. And so when around 20 journalists have already died in this conflict, many by Russian bombardment and bombs and just munitions being used against them, we don't even have confirmation that this guy has died. And you want him to be covered more than all the other journalists. Because let me tell you, they haven't got much coverage either. Can anybody in my chat name the name of a single journalist that has died in this conflict? Just off the back of your head. Any of you? A single one. Just any of them. A single one. Over around 20 have died. Not even a journalist. Cameraman. Anything like that. No, none of you can. One says New York Times guy. Craig Cumlord. I will. Good news. Craig Cumlord is actually still alive. For all the Craig Cumlord fans out there, he's still good. It looks the vast majority. Fox camera guy, right? You don't even know his name. Vladimir the camera. Okay, let's reel it in, guys. So what I'm getting at is what makes him more special than the other people. The other people, by the way, who are much more reputable than this guy, whose experience leading up to this is, I am sexist, pay attention to me. Again, and we don't even have confirmation he's dead, and we're supposed to cover that more than everything else. Look, this is a guy who's been primarily online. The people who have always listened to him have been primarily online. It's not that crazy that the response has also been primarily online. And there hasn't been like, breaking news. This is CNN, okay? They're going to drag out Walter Cronkite's corpse, drag it out to give this breaking story that Gonzalo Lira, otherwise known as Coach Redpill, is missing. Not dead. We really don't have much to report. He's just missing. What makes him special? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
He's saying these things that are not part of our narrative. So let me just tell you that before the war, he had this like bro type blog, which, okay, right? You don't have to like bro type blogs.
She's really underselling just exactly how fucking sexist the guy was. I'm just gonna do your own research. Don't take my word for it. Don't ever take my word on someone's reputation, just face value. Always do your own research. But she's underselling it really hard.
I personally don't, but I also am not in Ukraine, right? And so anyone who was giving us context on this, most people doing that are also not there. He had been saying that Ukraine was, in fact, arming criminals, that there were...
Can I be honest? Do you want to know why these people care? Well, I'll let them speak for a little bit more. I'm going to tell you why these people care about Gonzo. And I'll look up something quick afterwards on Redacted, and I want to see if they're being consistent or they're a bunch of hypocrites. I'm going to predict they're hypocrites in advance, though. I'm just, I'm taking a swing.
Factions of the Ukrainian military enacting violence. This is not the kind of thing that we are supposed to talk about. We are going to continue to talk about it more later today. So
brave.
Yeah, I mean, and exactly as someone in the chat says, Chris Lucas, Fishing for the Truth, says, if you look up that list that Gonzalo tweeted, he had this pinned on his Twitter page. It says, if you want to learn the truth about Zelensky regime, Google these names, and here's the list of these names. If you haven't heard from me in 12 hours or more, put my name on this list.
Chris Lucas, you're brave. We talked about that the other day, how we all were a bit too scared to Google them. So
right.
You're hired. Did you do it, Philip?
No, I didn't. I did not. I
Are they even gonna tell us who these people are? Or they just
had pool last night, so I went right from the show to edit.
so it's just a bunch of names and then whatever.
It was
So
extra
lazy.
credit for any of us here.
But yes, I mean, so at this point, what's amazing about this is that the Chilean media right now
didn't even tell us what that meant. Okay.
Media and U.S. authorities, U.S. State Department, no mention of a U.S. citizen from the State Department or the Chilean Foreign Ministry. He's still missing in Ukraine. There have been no official declarations at all. And by the way, it's actually
Again, why should the United States particularly care about this person?
worth noting that no media has been covering this. Literally, the only media that's been covering this is RT. RT has been covering this story.
Wow, I wonder why that is. And I wonder why you and RT are the ones that are covering the story.
Which, of course, is banned in the United States and Europe. You can't access You cannot access Russia Today on any platform. RT America was shut down, of course. But try to go to RT.com on your computer. You will find that you are not allowed to access that site. It is blocked. Why? Because of censorship. So your ISPs have declared, we can't get this information. RT is covering this story.
Do you think, is there any other way around thinking about this other than the obvious? They don't like his narrative, so they shut him down and they don't care that he's gone missing. So I'm just trying to think.
We already talked about why I don't think he's particularly special. But first off, why is it that this guy is getting particular attention from these people? It's not like Gonzalo is an extremely reputable journalist, or he's very special in really any way, right? When it comes to his journalism. Why are they carrying him around? In response or in comparison to any other journalist? It's because he's pro-Russia. It's that simple. He's anti-Zelensky. He's anti the Ukrainian government. He's therefore they want to drag him out and use him as their example. Let's look it up. For example, because a ton of journalists have died in the conflict. Let's look up Ukrainian journalist. Let's see. I'm interested. Where is journalist Gonzo Lira? Okay, another story on Gonzo. Why are they lying about Ukraine? Another story about Gonzo Lira. Okay, and we just watched another video just right now about Gonzo. So that's 3 videos about Gonzo. And if you look through all of this, not a single video. And I'm gonna, maybe if somebody wants to tell me that they have done a video on all the other reporters, please do. Not a single video on any of the journalists who have died due to Russian bombardment. Not a single video on any of the plentiful journalists who have been covering the conflict more honestly and with a more complete perspective. Nothing on that. Nothing on that, right? They've got videos on jumping to conclusions on chemical attacks. They've got videos on a bunch of other things talking about how terrible Zelensky and the Ukrainian government is, but they're talking about how the mainstream media isn't talking about Gonzo Lira, and it shows the hypocrisy because they don't like his narrative, and then they don't have a single video about any of the people who are actually fucking dead due to the Russian bombardment. The actual fucking journalists. These journalists who have done this their whole life, who have dedicated their life to putting themselves in dangerous scenarios to cover conflict. Those journalists that died, they don't deserve any conflict. They don't deserve any coverage. One sexist blogger goes missing, and he's not even dead. 3 videos. But remember, the reason the mainstream media isn't talking about it is because they like a single narrative. They don't like the other narrative. Okay. Doesn't the same apply here? Okay, whatever, man. Fucking annoying as fuck, man. This is... I despise people like this. I despise programs like this, man. Because the hypocrisy is so obvious.